last few days, Declan Rice has been the focus of a great deal of scrutiny from the media and now from ourselves as West Ham fans. Let's just take a little step back to the beginning of this season. Declan Rice began the season as club captain. Mark Noble had retired and he has got the armband as a proper club captain for the first time. We started the season quite poorly, quite sluggishly. There was a few questions that were asked initially of whether actually Declan Rice had the capabilities to actually hold the mantle of club captain on his own. I was one of them. We've gone through the season, we've got to the World Cup, we was struggling at that point, and I think it's fair to say that Declan Rice, although he was probably still one of our better players, could be argued he's still been our best player this season. That's a debatable point. But we get to the World Cup. Declan Rice then has that interview that we all know where he made comments about wanting to win the top honours. On the one hand, I appreciate that he's a very ambitious young man, but on the other side of things, I do, as a West Ham fan, feel a little bit disappointed that he came out with those utterances. But anyway, we then get through the World Cup and Declan Rice comes back to West Ham United. Transfer window opens and closes. We go forwards and our performances are still quite patchy. David Moyes is under pressure. There's a few rumblings of discontent from the crowd, both home and away. And it gets to a point over the weekend where Declan Rice comes out after that 4-0 defeat at the Amex, that absolute shambles of a performance that we put out there, or didn't put out there, more to the point. And Declan Rice came out and had the cameras in front of him. He's doing his interview duties post-match, as a club captain is expected to do. And he's obviously asked a question by the interviewer about some of the comments about the manager being under pressure, this, that and the other. And he obviously retorts with this thing about people being experts. If they were experts, they would be on the pitch, but they're not. We are. Words to that effect. Now, some have speculated that this was a dig at West Ham fans directly. And I'm not of that opinion, actually. Watching that interview again, the only time that he references the fans are when he's turning around and saying that the performance wasn't good enough for the fans and that we've let them down. That's the only time in that interview where he actually directly references the fans. Me, myself, I am of the opinion that when Declan Rice offered the retort saying that these experts, I think, in my opinion, he was referring to people in the media, whether they're former professional players or whether they're journalists of trade. I don't know, but I think that he was probably referring more to the media at large. Possibly also people on social media, especially people who maybe have accounts on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever, who offer out opinions, but they probably have profiles which are where they're anonymous, basically. They're faceless and they can basically say what they want with impunity. I could be wrong. I could be absolutely incorrect with that assessment of things. And if you have a different opinion to that, or indeed if you agree with me, you have the comment section below to get involved. But in my opinion, I don't think that those comments were actually a pop at the fans of West Ham United, in my humble opinion. But as I say, you might think differently. But then this also ties in kind of with the comments before the Manchester United game in the FA Cup at Old Trafford, just a few days before the game at the Amex on Saturday, where Roy Keane, in a pre-match interview on, I believe it was ITV from memory, and Declan Rice's name came up in dispatches, as it usually does, let's be completely honest. He has been our best player for some time. He is our club captain, and he's a very sought-after commodity. He's an England international. He's played in major tournaments, European Championships and World Cups. He's obviously someone that is very sought after. And Roy Keane was asked a question. Now, Roy Keane, for those of you that maybe don't remember Roy Keane in his playing days, was a magnificent central midfielder, arguably one of the best of the Premier League era. A really combative, mobile midfielder with great leadership qualities, and this guy won everything. He seriously won everything there was to win that was worth winning. Premier League titles, FA Cups, League Cups, Champions League, although he didn't actually play in the final in 1999 due to getting a booking in the semi-final second leg against Juventus. But his performance in that second leg was absolutely magnificent to get the team to. So this is a guy that knows the terrain. And he turned around and said that, in his opinion, he doesn't believe that Declan Rice is quite up to the hype that he's given by the West Ham fans, by the media, whoever. But just generally that Declan Rice is not someone that, when the tag of £100 million player, £120 million player, he's obviously turned around and said that not for him. He believes that he doesn't get the goals, he doesn't get the assists, killer passes, whatever, that he's not got the stuff to make him a real top level midfielder. Now, Roy Keane, as I say, he was a magnificent player in his day. He's obviously gone into the world of media. He does a lot of work for Sky Sports. He works for ITV as well. And he's obviously someone, look, he's entitled to his opinion. I haven't got a problem with that. I personally disagree. I really do disagree. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not turning around and saying that Declan Rice is the finished article. I still think that he has deficiencies in his game. I still think that he has areas where he can improve. And I do agree that as a top-level central midfielder, he does need to add more goals, more assists to his game, I believe, to elevate himself to the truly elite level of central midfielders. But I do believe he's 23, 24 years of age. He's still got more development, more improvement to come in his career. So I don't think that we've yet seen the best of Declan Rice. I regrettably don't think, though, that when Declan Rice does hit that peak, that he'll be doing it in a claret and blue shirt. I think it's a fairly open secret that he will be off in the summer, and that from the start of next season, he will not be the West Ham club captain. He will not be a West Ham player in all likelihood. I think I would be very surprised if he is. But is Roy Keane right? Is Roy Keane correct in his assessment? As I say, again, I don't believe he is. I believe that Declan Rice is one of the best midfielders in the country. Now, I know that obviously there was something mentioned about Declan Rice. He doesn't make killer passes. But then again, not all central midfielders are excellent passers of the ball. One of Declan Rice's strengths is more driving with the ball from deep, with the ball at his feet. And he can put in good passes. He does have a decent range of passing. Yes, he's not Kevin De Bruyne, but very few players are. That doesn't necessarily mean that he isn't a top-level midfielder. Whether you class him as a world-class midfielder, whether you class him as an elite-level midfielder, one of the top central midfielders in world football, that's entirely up for debate. But was Roy Keane right about Declan Rice when he turned around and said that he isn't, basically, that he doesn't believe that the hype that is surrounding Declan Rice about his value in the transfer market, about going to some of the top clubs in the Premier League and even abroad indeed, and basically Roy Keane has poured cold water on those particular comments, that praise that has surrounded Declan Rice for some time. Was he right? Or is it more likely that it's just a little bit of bitterness from Roy Keane, who was a proud Irishman, obviously would have been quite annoyed by the fact that Declan Rice won 3 caps for the Republic of Ireland, and then obviously decided to turn his back, as far as he would be concerned, and go and play for England. I think that possibly that might play a part into the reason why Roy Keane has been so scathing in the criticisms of Declan Rice. But again, you might agree, you might actually think that Roy Keane, perhaps he had a point. Perhaps there's something in what Roy Keane said before the Manchester United game, which is the reason why perhaps we're in the situation that we're in, that we think that maybe Declan Rice is better than is actually the case. Or indeed, is it a fact that maybe if Declan Rice does go in the summer, and Declan Rice perhaps even knows right now that he is gone in the summer, is it possible that Declan Rice maybe isn't hitting the heights that he is, and that possibly that's the reason why his performances have kind of just gone down a notch or two in the recent few months? I don't know what the answer is. I really don't. I'm not an in the know. I'm just an average Joe fan. I'm just asking a question. Is it possible that Roy Keane was right about Declan Rice in that he's not up to the mark as far as an elite level midfielder is concerned? Tell me what you think. You've got the comment section below. Was Roy Keane right, or is Roy Keane just being a little bit bitter and not too happy with Declan Rice because he turned his back on the Republic of Ireland? Anyway, you've got a few things to get stuck into there. Please let me know your thoughts. As always, please don't forget to drop a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and don't forget to share this to your social media platforms. And thank you very much for watching. Come on, you Irons.